you gathered here. Peace be with you. Peace be with you. Kuch again. Kuch bedwaru. Kuch bedwaru. Henry. 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 Yes. Toliba. Toliba. Ebwe. Ebwe. And Ekisil. Okoya. I cannot start my presentation, my substantive presentation, without first of all thanking the founders of this gathering, the institution, some 20 years ago, mainly our Catholic leaders, the bishops from northern Uganda. And among the leading one was and has been Archbishop John Baptist Odama. Thank you very much. This gathering this week, as well as now, has played a very important and critical role in restoring peace in a state of war, a state of insurgency, a state with cattle rustling, and where we have reached today, we have to thank all those who made so many sacrifices to see that there is some degree, I use the word degree, we don't have total peace yet, some degree of peace and security, and we must build on it. Thank you, and thank you very much. We are gathered here to pray for peace, for unity, for forgiveness, for reconciliation, and for healing. Ginukele wakan no. Kele wakan kone abobor le biwoye le pasho. Pikop pamedohe kom kuch piratek. Abo kuch in a letter written to me by host Bishop Wanok, which invited me, he said I should speak on behalf of political leaders on topic unity in diversity with a focus celebrating heritage, a shared gift. So I'm going to speak as a politician. Please excuse me, I'm going to speak as a politician. I've been in politics practically for the last 50 years, 20 years in, 25 years in parliament, 10 years as a minister. I'm also a lawyer, having graduated from Makerere in 1972 and enrolled as an advocate in 1974. So I've seen it all. I've been in prison twice during Amin's time, and even Museveni put me in prison twice. So I'm speaking from the depth of conviction and experience. Those who know me better, I'm proud to say I'm a Catholic, but not just a Catholic, but the son of a catechist, Atubo, who welcomed the Komboni, who welcomed the Verona Fathers, now Komboni missionaries at Ngeta from 1933, having moved from Otuke to Ngeta. So as a son of a catechist, a Catholic, and a lawyer, I am what I am because of that. And I'm strongly, that is my foundation. Now, there are two quotations which the bishop, when the bishop wrote to me, he quoted. It was the Ephesians chapter 4, verse 3, which reads, take care to preserve the unity of the Spirit by the peace that binds you together. The key words there are unity and peace. Bala Bishop Uchoya and Okoba Mano, Umia Church Bible. Kun Church Kobani, Komen not te, Kerikuch. Te dog me a dog, he acts. Chapter 2, verse 42, 43, it is a long one. But the main points, the main issues in that quotation of the Bible are owning everything in common and distributing assets and whatever you have according to needs. You own and you distribute according to needs. And also faithfulness and prayers. And in all this, the quotation adds that the Lord will add more. You see, when you do all these good things, God will bless you and add more. So, as a politician, the first thing that is important for us is to understand what is politics. Politics is very more. If you go anywhere, you open your Google, you go to the dictionary, you go to the political science, anywhere, it will bring out two things. It will talk about management of society and exercise of power. That's what politics is about. How do you manage society? You are in a position of leadership. How do you manage society? Based on those two biblical quotations. How do you exercise your power? You are a president, you're a member of parliament, you're a judge, you're a chairman of a district, you're a politician, you're elected. How do you exercise those power in the management of society based on those two biblical quotations, unity, peace, and so on. And even based on our national anthem, for God and my country. Not for myself, not for anything else, not for my family, not for my stomach, but for God and my country. Now, when we talk about politics, we go straight away to politics and peace. Politics is critical in the building, preservation, and destruction of peace. When a politician is in charge of a state, in charge of a country, in charge of society, politics is critical because it deals with the management of society. But more importantly, it is critical in building Gero Kuch, Woko Kuch, Engang Balo Kuch. One politician 1 year Obalakuch. 1 year Obalakuch. Balakuch, we destroy peace because of greed for power. We want to be in positions where we have power, and when we have power, we are managing society, we are managing the resources of the country, we are managing the budget, we are managing money, taxes, and so on. We mismanage them, and because we have plenty of these opportunities to do that, politicians struggle to be in political offices because it is the biggest, somebody said, the best business in Africa today is politics because it is the best business. There's a lot of money there. You know how much money the members of parliament get paid. You know how much contracts are awarded and what comes out of it. But we know in all this, we know that peace is a gift. God said, I give you peace. The peace which we have, and it is a very important point, is a gift from God. Kuch oya ibot oba. Uche odano, teme yo kuch, teme yo wajemi tushu, teme yo wajemi ni tusha wana tikede, iwi lobo ni. Lobo, pi, kiem, lei, ngote koni wariti unukede for the good of yourselves. So God gave us peace and created the world and all the resources so that we may use it for our own good. So, therefore, if we are to preserve this, we have to look at God and exercise and practice godliness. At this stage, let me refer to the excellent address by Archbishop Raphael. I think it was on Monday about peace. I followed it fully, and Archbishop Raphael, let me tell you, that speech of yours should go into the record of Ganal and record of this country to define, to tell us what peace is. You literally covered everything. All that I can do is to add, peace is the totality of love. Peace is the totality of love. It is like love in the family, love between husband and wife, love of children with their parents and so on. So love is the totality of love is the totality between human beings. Totality of love between human beings. How do we conduct ourselves? And not necessarily to repeat what the Archbishop said, but we know that where there is peace, there is no war, no hatred, no exploitation, no corruption, no oppression, and no inequality. Kaname kuchiye, luenpeye, opongi mara kiken, adaga petie. Jame ramo jo me lobo kede ngo petie. Okoi government petie. Jame dilu poko ame ramo jo. So, when we talk about peace, we must also talk about the basics of human life. Some people say the needs of human being. What are the basics? Because you see, kainen ni kutie ena warti kanen ti ulingiti yotia yigi yo yotia lego ena ti jemi mawa me mike tia warti kan ya call it good health, shelter, water, money. Poverty should not be there. People should have money. Because it's an exchange. It's by which you buy things. You buy salt, sugar, soap. You send your children to school. Where there is poverty, don't pretend there is peace. No. So you need money. You need education. You need clothes. And above all, we need security. The regional police commander has been here. He has been talking about peace, the role of the army, the role of the police. We made a beautiful constitution, a very good constitution in 1995, based on the experience of Uganda in the last 60 years of wars and coups and so on. So we made a very good constitution of 1995. What the regional police commander is saying is there. The functions of the police is defined in there. The basics is the preservation, maintenance, and promotion of law and order. So, police are here to keep security. Yeah, they are posted everywhere to keep security. But don't mistake security for peace. Many times politicians mislead us to think that security is peace. Yes, we need security for peace. But security alone is not peace, please. Security alone is not peace. You know, if you go to Luzira prison, I was there twice. I was locked there twice. It has the best security. And it's, you miss peace, sister. The bishops used to visit us when we were locked there with the Omara, the people from the north. Among the bishops, they used to have we are struggling for peace like John Baptist Dama was struggling. We didn't have arms, but we were there. There was security everywhere to see that we didn't do anything wrong in New Zealand. There was no peace. So, peace is the main, security is the maintenance of law and order. And we have got to go beyond security. If we want peace, then we must satisfy the basics of human needs. Now, politics and the destruction of peace. Yes. God gave us peace. God gave us rain. If it rains and you don't go to your garden and dig. God gave us environment which we are now destroying. God gave us animals. God gave us gold, diamonds, petrol, and everything. But look at the human beings now. What are we doing with those gifts of God? Since human creation, peace has eluded humanity. You can go and look at empires, Roman Empire, British Empire, Ottoman Empire, Greek Empire. You know about enslavement. You know about the colonialism. Of course, we Christians know about the trial and crucifixion of Jesus Christ. It was not a trial, it was a mock justice. The way Jesus was tried, handed over to the mob to go and kill him, that is not peace. So, we must look at critically that in building peace, in preserving peace, in protecting peace, who are the enemies or what are the enemies of peace? As a politician, I'm saying politicians those managing the state, including civilians and generals, army officers, intelligence, and so policemen, we can be, I'm not saying we can be, and it has been true, that we are the biggest destroyers of peace given by God. So, we know what matters. Now, in Uganda, let us look at Uganda. There was the pre-colonial Uganda, before the British came, before 1900. What was Uganda like? The land over here, the Acholi, the Karamojong, the Madi, and so on. How were we living? We were living in a state of war, let me say. The Langi used to go and attack the Acholi used to come and attack the Langi used to go and assist the Banyoro to fight the Baganda, the Langi used to go and fight the Madi. You know, the old Langi believed that if you capture a Madi woman, the Madi women always produce twins. So they were very interested in Madi women because they believed that the Madi produce twins. So the Onyakulu were always in Madi capturing Madi women to come and produce twins. And if you go to Yam, you will get a lot of products of Madi twins there. When the British came, and however much we condemn colonialism, let us accept that during the British colonialism, after conquering Uganda, there was a high degree of preservation of law and order. I'm not using the word peace, but some degree of peace were also there. All those developments, roads, infrastructure, oil force, Dalvia, Makerere University, hospitals, schools, then the churches came, helped us. In many ways, you know that. Apart from evangelization, there were schools built, many schools, hospitals, the best thing at all hospital, Ngeta here, the church founded the Ngeta dispensary, fast, Catholic dispensary in Omara. Colonialism, I grew up, I was born in 47, and I was under colonialism for 15 years. I finished my primary and secondary and junior secondary school under colonialism. There was security, the British policemen, the army, the district commissioners, using the local chiefs and so on. Here, law and order was there, and there was the high degree of peace. Now, when the war independence happened, you know the 1966 crisis, you were there, executive prime minister Obote, and Kabaka president, 66 crisis, which led to Mende War, and the removal of the birth of the Republican Constitution. Then you know the coup of 1971. I mean, gave power, General later Field Marshal, you know the rule under that. Then there was those constant struggle to get rid of the government. It was God willing in 79. Then the body came back. The election of 1980 disputed, civil went to the bush, war again, and so on. Now, what is this? I've never had the Nami going to attack Atubo since colonial time. I've never had the Nami going to attack a Keso. Who are doing this? Those who are doing it were armed people who wanted state power. So this is why I'm saying that we politicians are the greatest destroyers of peace. And it's not only Uganda. You go to our brothers in Southern Sudan now. What is happening? Not only in Southern Sudan, also Northern Sudan. What is happening in Sudan? The armed people struggles to remove the Arab domination and the imposition of Islam. Now the Christians in Southern Sudan are killing themselves with the gun. Since 2011, no election. Everybody wants to be in power by the gun. Salva Kiir, Riek Machar has been locked in because he's in opposition. Just like our Kizza is locked here, and Bobby Wine, after election, has to run away. So what's wrong with you Africans? Oh, what is wrong with that Africans? Not me, because I'm also an African. Can we have peaceful method to acquire power? You go to Rwanda here. What happened to Rwanda? 1 million people killed in genocide because people want power. No, please. Today, I say, we have some degree. You have peace and security, the army is there, police are there, and so on. Now, we don't have to go back to the situation where we're in a state of war, destruction, camps, people live in camps. Those days are gone. But peace doesn't come by just sitting and folding your arms. Building peace is a struggle. Building peace is a struggle. Preserving peace is a struggle. Protecting peace is a struggle. There's a word which they use for qualify peace. Sustainable peace. Kuchajari na there was some cheap politics in last year. It was also in another part of Uganda. Aaron was going around saying, you know, we have brought you peace. We have brought you peace. You have brought us peace. God has brought us peace. It's your responsibility to protect us, to give us security, to make sure that there is development, to make sure that the situation is there for you to have food, to have good health, to have good education, to have money, so that I live happily. Because part of peace is for you to live happily and with satisfaction. So, we in Uganda have a very rich history for peace from global, regional, and nationally. So, if you want peace, what do we do? As I summarize. Number one, love. Without love, there is no peace. I've said it before that love is the totality of the human relations, bringing happiness and respect and so on. Number one, marry down. Number two, respect of human rights. Omara, Ochiwa, Kedano, Temi, Watwera, down. No human being should play with our human rights. God created us and gave us our human rights. That is why in the Constitution of Uganda, if you read it, you will find, we call it inalienable or inalienable rights, human rights. No politician gives you rights, no president gives you rights, no soldier gives you human rights, no general gives you human rights. Your human rights, on your life, take a ban me, pay you what you have for me as well. I think you have for me as well, maybe down. Don't abuse yourself. Number three, freedom. Please, freedom. I want freedom to be a Catholic. I want freedom to practice my religion. I want freedom to be a Protestant. I want freedom to be a Muslim. Freedom of religion. Freedom to eat what I want. There are those who don't eat pork. That's their choice and their freedom. For me, I love pork, by the way. But when a Muslim visits me, I can't cook pork for him. That would be an abuse of human rights. I want to have the freedom to choose who should lead me. That is my freedom to say, I'm going to vote for you to be my president, to be my members of parliament, and so on. That is my freedom. Freedom of association. I have the right to belong to the political party, to the association I want. That is my freedom, given by God. Number 5, democracy. Human beings since creation have struggled through and we have reached this day. In the past, we had all these forms of monarchy, aristocracy, and all sorts, empires, war, and so on. But for the last 200-300 years, we have moved towards this democratic system of government. And it has improved so far in the West. What is democracy? It's just ruled by the people. You choose who should be your leader. And it has been tested. And so far it is tested. It is one way of preserving, making sure there is peace. Because if you come to power by the gun, like our people in Southern Sudan, you will never have peace. If you come to power, like it is happening now in Somalia, you will never have peace. Look at what is happening in Ethiopia. Many countries where there is no democracy. I believe in democracy. And it's also in our constitution. There is another one, number 6, is free and fair elections. If we want peace in Uganda, come to Kuj, Beri Uganda, Bolukwir, Bolukwira, Twea Dan, the Bolukwir. Electoral Commission, kama Omara Tubulo, peo komi Omara Tubulo kuitumia bi, okelo kutumia wen. Electoral Commission tela okelo, teko ni okela hiyo lokwi. Omara Tubutia kok teko ni wori court. Court na wori echa da wondere kie. Won court ya da Omara Omara Tubukesu loy. Bien court peo wero court Omara Tubulo, court dana ni kinga. That is not free and fair. Military out of politics. Yes. One man Uganda can nili monyo chakodonye lodge in Uganda imwapira bishia. I want to be very honest about this. When Obote was knocking his head with the Kabaka Buganda president, then Kabaka Buganda was supported by the Army Commander Kolo Kolot. Obote was supported by Deputy Army Commander Kolo Idi Amin. And there was the Mengo War, the Battle of Battalion, the Mengo War. And it was decided at that time by fighting. Since that time, the army has entered into the politics of Uganda. 1966. And when the army found that they were now the ones who are very important in the politics of Uganda, they could, you know, the burden is heavy. I mean, then, I mean, just kick the water out and became the president. Because that government was being maintained by the army in power. Elections should have been held in 1967, but no election was held in 1967. When election was about to be held in 1971, they couldn't do it. And then they know what happened after that. The army, when we came from Tanzania, the army entered parliament. The army said, no, when the one who liberated you, Parliament of Uganda, we must also be there. You and Little Job, together, and all these other people. They were also there in power, in parliament. So since 1980, the army has been critical to the politics of Uganda. The army has been in parliament. That is not the work of the army. The army is supposed to be protecting us against foreign enemies and internal enemies. They are not supposed to rule the country. Now you get general so-and-so, general so-and-so, general so-and-so. What is going on? Now even to the extent that some people in Uganda have started believing, oh, if you're not a general, you cannot rule Uganda. Oh yeah. So somebody is also preparing another general to take over from another general. Will this bring peace? No. Number 8, justice. Minister of Judiciary. We need justice to be administered without fear of failure. Number 7, rule of law, not the rule of the gun. Number 10, constitutionalism. I've mentioned this. We have the 1962 Constitution, which was handed over to Obote at Kololo at independence time. That Constitution was overthrown in 1966. There was the interim Constitution of 66. Then we had the Republican Constitution of 67. Amin came in 66 in 71 and said he's going to rule by decree. No Constitution, no parliament. Nothing for him. He will wake up in the morning and say, oh, I have dreamed in Tororo. God told me that the Asians are milking the economy of Uganda and they must now leave Uganda. So you go. The military tribunal, judiciary, through the military tribunal, is being introduced slowly. Civilians, recently this parliament living, made a very bad law. The law which says if you, Omara, is suspected of dreaming to overthrow a government. Somebody had you dreaming that you are going to overthrow a government. Oh, if you are going to be taken to a military tribunal, right there. But there is already treason in the civilian court. Why are you taking me to the military tribunal? That is your parliament. Then constitutionalism, respect. When you make a law, constitution of Uganda like you made in 1995, it is not for somebody in power, for the people of Uganda. So President Museveni came, removed age limit, continues. President Museveni came, removed term limit, it continues. That is wrong. That is wrong. You cannot rule a country like that by removing provisions of the Constitution, making the Constitution personal, and so on. Equality. By equality we mean, and it is there in the Constitution, every Ugandan, we are all equal. But people in governance, they are practicing tribalism. The Constitution condemns, protects equality. But what these politicians do, practicing tribalism, bringing people from their region, from their families, being in key positions of government. That is wrong. Number 12, courage to speak and defend the truth. Please. This is what gets there for you. If you are not ready to sacrifice and speak the truth, you will never have peace. And finally, on this certain point, separation of powers and checks and balances. You know, countries where there is good governance, countries where there is peace, you have the executive headed by the president or parliament or president. Then you have parliament making the law. Then you have the judiciary. the executive controls parliament, like yesterday you heard what they did. The army surrounded parliament and forced members of parliament to pass a bad law called the Protection of Sovereignty. Parliament is not independent anymore. Then you have the judiciary. If you want to be a magistrate grade 1, if you want to be a magistrate, chief magistrate, you want to be a judge, somebody must recommend you. Somebody in the State House, somebody in the President's office must recommend you and you are appointed. Are you going to be truly independent? Are you going to administer justice truly? So, this separation of powers, which is meant to have checks and balances, like in Britain, like in America, and like in other countries, the president doesn't have absolute power. Parliament says, no, Mr. President, we have the oversight function, we are checking you. This is wrong. Judiciary, you go and say, Mr. President, you say you won this election, somebody goes to the judiciary. And the judiciary is so scared that they cannot say this election was not free and fair. What was the judiciary that? These are critical issues which we Ugandans must be open about. And then finally, to the religious leaders, I want to tell you that you have a special role to play in matters of peace and good governance. Have courage. The courage which John Baptist Odama had during the war in the north. Let's clap for him again. The courage which John Baptist Odama had to go and walk and sleep with displaced people on the streets in Gulu. The courage which John Baptist Odama had to go to Garamba and meet Kony. The courage which John Baptist Odama had to make sure that in addition to the gun fighting Kony, we need Juba peace talks. It is the combination of the gun and Juba peace talks which has resulted in this security and immediate peace. And you religious people, speak out timely. You know, don't wait. Be like a doctor to cure a disease before it kills the patient. I emphasize, speak timely against enemies of peace and good governance. If you wait for too long, election is finished. It was rigged. People were beaten. People were killed. You go and pray in Kololo. Oh, this is good. Continue. You are wonderful. Then another 5 years or so, like that. By the time you realize it, it will be too late. It will be you will be the victim. Now, to the religious people again, refuse to be bribed and bought or to shut your mouth. Don't worry. All these taxes, this is our money. If anybody says I'm giving, if a politician says I'm giving you money, accept it, that is our money, please, no problem. But tell him that you're giving me money, but you are a killer. You are giving me money, but you are a thief. Stop being a thief. Stop ruling badly. Thank you for giving me the money of the people of Uganda. I'm going to use it to build my church. But I'm also telling you that the way you are doing things is not good for our country. I pray, and this is my last prayer, and my continuous prayer is, people of Uganda, let us pray, especially Ugandans. Let us pray that one day, as God has given us peace, let us pray that one day God should gift us with a Nyerere to rule Uganda. God bless you all. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Honorable Omara Atubo, Bidwana Pesho, Amaya Bilmiyokan, Anale, Ingeta Tut, Ikwena Mayon to you, many